She was about to be escorted out of the hotel lobby when she said something that made everyone pause. "Don't worry," Helena whispered calmly. "One day I'll own a place like this." The receptionist laughed. Helena was 62 years old. Gray hair tied back, worn coat, shoes cracked from years of walking. She worked as a cleaner in the building across the street, and every Friday during lunch break, she stepped inside that five-star hotel, not to beg, not to cause trouble, just to look. The marble floors, the chandelier, the quiet piano in the background. It reminded her of a promise. Years earlier, as her husband lay dying, he squeezed her hand and said, "Promise me you'll stop surviving and start dreaming." After he passed, surviving was all she did. Until one night she prayed, "God, if you still see me, give me one chance to build something beautiful." Back in the lobby, the manager approached. "Ma'am, guests are uncomfortable. I'm not bothering anyone," Helena replied softly. "You don't belong here." The words hit harder than he knew. People stared. Helena lowered her eyes, but not her faith. "Lord," she whispered, "you heard him." Security led her outside. Across the street, she looked back at the hotel. "I'll return," she said quietly, not as a visitor. Weeks later, her cleaning company lost a major contract. She was laid off at 62 with little savings alone. That night she cried. "Was I foolish to dream?" She asked God's silence. Then a memory surfaced. Her grandmother's pastries, the ones that used to sell out at church events. The next morning, she used her last savings to bake. She knocked on cafe doors. Most said no. One small coffee shop said yes. Her pastries sold out in 2 hours. Word spread. Months later, she was supplying multiple cafes. A year later, an investor approached her. "I want to fund your bakery," he said. "Where?" she asked carefully. He smiled across from the Grand Aurora Hotel. Opening day arrived, warm lights, fresh bread scent drifting into the street. A line forming outside. Hotel guests began crossing over. 6 months later, the same manager who once expelled her walked into her bakery. He froze. Helena stepped forward wearing a tailored suit. "You," he murmured. "Yes," she answered gently. He cleared his throat. "Our hotel restaurant would like to feature your pastries exclusively." She held his gaze. "You don't belong here," echoed faintly in her memory. But it no longer hurt. "I'd be honored," she said calmly. Not to prove him wrong, but because she remembered what it felt like to stand outside a door and be rejected. That evening, she walked through the hotel lobby. Not as a trespasser, as a partner. She paused beneath the chandelier. "Thank you," she whispered. She had asked God for something beautiful. He didn't give her the hotel. He gave her purpose. And every time someone walks into her bakery looking unsure, she smiles and says, "You belong wherever God plants a dream in your heart." If this story touched you, comment "I belong" and share it with your friends. I'm glad you're with someone who needs to remember this. Sometimes what feels like rejection is simply God positioning you for his promise.